Hey, welcome to my channel, and don't even think about skipping. This Portuguese egg tart recipe is about to turn your world upside down in the best way possible. Seriously, it's so good. Your friends and family will be lining up for more. You'll be the dessert superstar, no doubt. In this video, I'm revealing all the secrets to making irresistibly crispy and flaky tarts with the softest, most authentic filling. Trust me, you don't want to miss a single step. These tips will take your tarts to the next level. These tarts are so magical, it'll feel like your friends took a trip to Portugal without leaving home. Pure, buttery bliss, no passport needed. So, if you're ready to impress, let's dive into this deliciousness. Let us start by adding sifted 150 grams of all-purpose flour in a clean bowl. Now, add 35 grams of cold, unsalted butter. Cold butter is the key, okay? Crush it with your hands or a spatula. Just get it nice and crumbly. We're adding cold butter to the flour and crumbling it by hand to create a flaky pastry texture. The cold butter stays solid and forms small pockets in the dough. When the tarts bake, these pockets of butter melt, releasing steam, which creates the light, flaky layers in the crust. If the butter were warm or melted, it would blend completely into the flour, and the dough would turn out dense rather than light and flaky. By keeping the butter cold and only slightly mixing it with the flour, we ensure that lovely crispy texture in the final pastry. Dissolve 2 grams of salt and 3 grams of sugar in 65 grams of cold water. Pour that in the flour mixture and mix it all up until you have got a beautiful dough. Give it a light knead. We knead this dough lightly because we want it to stay tender and flaky, not tough. When you knead dough a lot, it develops gluten, which is great for bread because it makes it chewy. But for pastry like this, we're aiming for a soft, delicate texture. So by kneading it gently, we avoid overworking the dough, keeping it light and airy instead of dense. That's how we get that perfect, crisp bite. Roll out your dough and spread some of the 80 grams of room temperature butter all over evenly. We add room temperature butter because if the butter were too cold, it wouldn't spread smoothly. And if it were too warm, it would just melt into the dough. Room temperature butter is the sweet spot for creating those perfect, crispy layers. We freeze the dough after adding the butter to keep everything firm and prevent the butter from melting into the dough. Freezing helps maintain those distinct layers of butter and dough that give the pastry its light, flaky texture. If the butter melts into the dough before baking, you lose that layering and the pastry becomes dense instead of crispy. So, by chilling or freezing the dough, we're locking in those layers, ensuring the perfect flaky crust when it bakes. We're going to repeat this process 3 times, each time spreading the butter evenly over the dough. After the first round, freeze the dough for 1 hour to let the butter set. Then, for the second and third rounds, freeze it for 30 minutes each time. After the final step, roll up the dough and freeze it one last time to lock in those layers. While it's chilling in the fridge, let's make our delicious custard filling. Add 135 grams of castor sugar to 6 egg yolks and whisk it until the sugar melts and it is smooth. Oh, and by the way, if you are loving this already, do not forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on more amazing recipes. Add 25 grams of cornstarch, and do not worry. All-purpose flour works if you are out of cornstarch. Mix it well too until all combined and there are no lumps and it's smooth. Now, if you are still watching, drop a comment and tell me what is your go-to dessert. I would love to know. Now, in a pot, heat up 250 grams of milk. Though I'll admit, my pot got a little too hot while I was adding the milk, so please don't let that happen to you. Things got a bit wild during filming. Next, add 370 grams of heavy cream and a vanilla bean. If you don't have a vanilla bean, vanilla extract or paste will work perfectly. Keep stirring it so everything combines and milk not overflow while boiling. Once it boils, take it off the heat and let it cool for about 30 minutes. Drain it and mix it with the eggs, and ta-da, our filling is ready. Let me know in the comments if there's a recipe you'd love to see me make, or if you'd like a detailed video on a specific dish. I'm always excited to try new things, and your suggestions are welcome. Alright, take out your rolled dough from the fridge, butter your tart molds, and divide the rolled dough into even pieces. This recipe makes 12 egg tarts, so try to cut the dough into about 1-inch sections. Press each piece of dough firmly into the tart molds, making sure to evenly spread it from the center outwards. Press gently up the sides to ensure the dough covers the entire mold. Be careful not to make it too thin at the bottom or along the edges, as it may burn during baking. On the other hand, if the dough is too thick, the tart won't bake evenly and may end up undercooked. Aim for a consistent thickness all around, about 3 to 4 millimeters, for that perfect balance between crisp and tender. Now, carefully fill each tart shell with the custard mixture, pouring it in until it reaches about 90% of the way to the top. You want to leave just a small space to prevent any overflow during baking. Be sure each tart is evenly filled for consistent results. Once they're filled, pop them into a preheated oven at 180 degrees Celsius. Bake for 25 to 30 minutes, or until the tops are golden brown with a slight caramelized finish. Keep an eye on them during the last few minutes to ensure they don't overbake. The custard should have a slight jiggle in the center when done. And drumroll! There you go. Just look at these heavenly, crispy, and golden tarts. Let them cool slightly before carefully removing them from the molds. Be patient, it's worth the wait. These are best enjoyed warm, and for an extra touch, you can sprinkle them with a little cinnamon powder or powdered sugar. Pure bliss in every bite. Authentic Portuguese tarts, or Pastéis de Nata, are known for their creamy and soft custard filling, not a jelly-like texture. The custard should be smooth, rich, and slightly caramelized on top. When you bite into one, the filling should have a soft, almost melt-in-your-mouth consistency, while the outer pastry is crispy and flaky. Thank you so much for joining me today on this delicious adventure. I truly hope you give this recipe a try, and when you do, I promise, every bite will feel like a little escape to Portugal. If this recipe brought a smile to your face, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, because there's so much more to come. Take care, and I'll see you again soon with another recipe to inspire your kitchen.